I said I wasn't going to do this, right? But I am. One, C3, like a 501c3? You mean like the inverse of a 105. But a 501c3, you mean like a nonprofit organization? You mean like a nonprofit organization that a so-called religious organization would set up to get donations to charity? Rule C3 under Admiralty and maritime claims? Have you been trying to C3 people for the last 35 years? And you've been saying they need to donate it to charity so that then you can do what? Evade taxes. So you can't track with taxes who actually called the shots. That's what this is about. Charity. Charity needs to donate. You wanted to steal my life and force me into poverty so I'd be dependent on Christian goodwill so you could frame me and the people I used to know under a C3? I don't think so. What is this about exigent circumstances? Is that what you're doing to the people at Gitmo? Is that what you're doing with COVID? Because it's what you've been doing with me. You created this futures command. And you keep trying to torture people under some, what do you call it, in camera, into going through things that happened in their life and allowing for it to be recharacterized in a manner that's actually fraudulent. You want them to lie. Because if they don't lie, when, for instance, they're bringing a charge or they're expressing a political view, including a dissident political view when they've been analyzing congressional actions or campaign promises or activities have been taken by state actors, you run them through this process where you torture them over and over again, and you try to put them through some fake trial where they're supposed to go through the scenario. See, I know it's a fake trial because for 5 years, you haven't even let me speak to a lawyer, and you haven't let me go to court, and everything the court's done has been securities fraud. But you keep trying to get me to change the story. And what you do is you take what I have done, and you create fake futures that you sell out, including while you're trafficking people, including fucking children. And all of a sudden, the last 2 months, since you tried to, well, since it got really bad, I've been hearing she didn't donate it. She didn't donate it. You're a nonprofit. We made you a nonprofit. We've been saying this. We made you a nonprofit. We made you a nonprofit. You mean you're C3ing me, right? You're trying to see if you can get somebody else to issue a command to get me to do something illegal. And not only illegal, but to continue torturing me up to the point where it gets so substantial that I engage in active armed violence. See, there's a problem. Taking arms and bearing arms in the United States is actually a constitutional right. But when you keep doing this thing where you allow for some alleged proxy, where you swap out the underlying that's financing the transaction with a foreign deal, or you allow for somebody that's been sanctioned by Treasury to be the underlying account. So what you're really doing is drawing on assets from other countries and trying to create scenarios, framing some other kind of national context as a justification for trying to excitate somebody to violence, to scheming, to trying to do things to take care of themselves. And then you misrepresent the actual risk and you leverage it. You stole something. You smoked a joint. You smoked crack. But by the time it ends up translating out, whoever else you're laundering that through, it becomes a big crime, right? Those vapors, right? Those chemicals you dump down the toilet, right? It ends up escalating very, very significantly. I'm not a nonprofit. I'm not a C3. I told you it was not an interim proceeding. Here's the thing. It's my vessel. It's my body. It's my mind. Every time you try to do that, it's an attempted mutiny. Attempted mutiny is a capital offense. Do you understand? Do not, again, try to impose yourself as if you are me in any of my children that I used to teach. You understand? If I'm in the classroom and I'm in the school and you try to mutiny my ship, it's a capital fucking offense.